The tribe of the... The only access is by helicopter. A small clearing has been cut on the top of a mountain. Landing there, one steps back thousands of years, and we meet our Stone Age ancestors face to face. Mindanao, the home of the Tasaday, is the southernmost island in the Philippines. It is a wild and beautiful country, much of it unexplored. The tribe lives high in the mountainous rainforest. The Tasaday call the helicopter Manuk Dakal, the big bird. Its arrival is always a great event. When the sound of the chopper is heard, the tribe leave whatever they're doing and head through the forest to the landing pad. They are going to see Momodaka Dewata Tasaday, the bringer of good fortune to the Tasaday. That is their name for Manda Elizalde. Elizalde is 36 years old, Harvard educated, a member of one of the wealthiest families in the Philippines. Manda was one of the first outsiders to meet the tribe. He has become their protector and champion. There is a deep emotional commitment on both sides. He is at ease with the tribe, and they trust him in a unique way. Elizalde is President Marcos' cabinet secretary for national minorities. He now spends much of his time in the jungle. He is deeply involved in the problems of all the Philippine tribes, but his major concern these days is the Tasaday. Since the Tasaday were discovered, most major news organizations have been trying to cover the event. The Philippine government, through their Association for National Minorities, called PANAMIN, has carefully restricted access to the tribe. NBC News was permitted a television exclusive in filming this documentary at the Tasaday's caves. We had been into the area before. The landscape was familiar and just as forbidding. The terrain is as difficult as anywhere in the world. It is no surprise that the Tasaday have been isolated for thousands of years. Manda had told the tribe that we would be coming. As I walked up the slope toward the caves, I wondered if the tribe had changed and whether they'd remember us. We had sent in a new medicine for ringworm. Gintoy, one of the young men, had a bad case of this skin disease. As a consequence, he'd become withdrawn and shy. Now it had dramatically cleared. The Tasaday were delighted with his good fortune. When everyone was relaxed and we'd said hello to old friends, they began to sing. The songs familiar things, the caves, the weather, the members of the tribe. They seem improvisational. The Tasaday loved to hear others sing, and I had to give a performance.
Figaro. 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 Figaro.
In the days ahead, we renewed our friendship with the tribe. It was the first time in the 3 trips that I had a chance to get to know each of them individually. Balangan is reserved and dignified. He is the father of 4 boys. When we arrived, his wife, Itut, was pregnant. The youngest children are Natak, named after a favorite food, and Ilib, which means cave. Lolo is the oldest. He had grown up since I first met him and is now a young man. Lobo is bright, handsome, and a show-off. Lifonak is a widower. His children all seem to have some physical defect. Udo has a spinal problem. Kali, a shy young girl, had a skin disease. Sasa's coloring is strangely pigmented, but they are all lively children. In one family, there are 3 generations. The grandparents are Kulatau and Sikul. They are the oldest members of the tribe, probably in their 50s. Their oldest son, Mahayag, is the tribe's toolmaker. His wife is Dula. Their daughter is Dina, who, like her mother, is beautiful. Their son is called Biking. He was named after the wild yam that is the tribe's staple food. Mahayag's brothers are Gintoy. He is the one who had a serious case of ringworm. And Adug, the young bachelor, now anxious for a wife. Balayam is probably the most outgoing of the tribe. Until recently, he too was a bachelor. Then he met Cindy, a widow from another tribe. More about their romance later. Tikaf and Ginun are deaf mutes. He is from the Tasaday, she from another tribe. Balayam's uncle brought them together. They are shy and retiring. They spend much of their time away from the caves tending their traps. They have no children. Dul appears to be the most influential member of the group. Her husband, Udlan, seems a bit henpecked. Their children, both boys, are Chiush and Maman. The reason for Dul's influence is puzzling. She has a say in decisions, she is extremely bright, and has a strong personality. The stream is the most important factor in the Tasaday's lives. Along it, they gather their food, play, and bathe. They chop a wood into pulp and use it for soap. The children are cared for, sometimes by their parents, sometimes by others. There is a great deal of mutual help. Older children will wash the younger ones. In their daily life, the tribe combines work and play in a way that we have long since forgotten. The stream is pure and provides their drinking water. Wild fruit grows along the bank, and it's a simple matter of climbing a tree for a midday snack. This is the way life had been for the cave people for thousands of years, until the day in 1966 when they met the hunter Dafal in the forest. Until then, they were a food-gathering band, a group at the lowest level on the scale of human existence, with no knowledge of agriculture, no domestic animals. Much of that way of life still exists. Tadpoles and crabs, tiny fish and frogs are found around the rocks in the stream. All of the tribe participate, poking about and uttering cries of delight when a tasty morsel is uncovered. The crabs are a particular delicacy. They are hard to find and harder still to hold on to. The collecting may go on all day. The pace is leisurely, and the extra food, that which is not eaten on the spot, is wrapped and brought back to the cave. They make food containers from leaves. For the children, it's a treat. They are usually fed first, and like children everywhere, they are always hungry. One of the delicacies is wild ginger. There are many varieties, and the taste ranges from very hot to mild. Tadpoles are another treat. One of the puzzles for the scientists is a lack of salt in the tribe's diet, all goiters. But by and large, they're a healthy group. Some scientists and scientific popularizers have attempted to prove that man's behavior is biologically determined. They argue that he is essentially aggressive, a killer, driven by a quest for territory. If the gentle Tasaday are any indication of how some of our ancestors lived and how they behaved towards each other, then these theories are open to serious question, and the discovery of the Tasaday gives the scientists a rare opportunity to study primitive man and re-examine basic questions of human nature at first hand. Dafal, the hunter, is probably the most important person in the Tasaday's history. One day in 1966, he left his village of Blit and set off into the nearby rainforest. It was a trip he had made many times, but this time he was to go deeper into the woods and discover the Tasaday. Anthropologists half-jokingly refer to the periods of Tasaday history as before and after Dafal. In order to keep them from disturbing his traps, he gave them earrings, beads, some bits of cloth, and several old knives. Depending on your point of view, he is either Prometheus or the serpent in the Garden of Eden. He is an unlikely heroic figure, toothless, tubercular, and illiterate. He still seems to have no idea of the significance of his discovery. Finally, in 1971, he came into contact with Elizalde and relayed the news of the tribe. Dafal's relationship with the tribe is a peculiar one. Although he introduced them to new food, taught them basic technology, and brought them into contact with Elizalde, they usually treat him as a friendly but rather comic figure.
blood.
They listen to his tales and laugh. They obviously have a great deal of affection for him, but he is also the butt of many of their jokes. It doesn't seem to bother him.
Aku nggak mai benyun kota, aja kalangan lagu ni moyun, tambah ya lagu. Ya.
Default taught the tribe to make simple traps, but they are not very effective. Occasionally, a wild chicken will blunder into one, or some hapless monkey will lose its way and end up in the Tasaday's larder. But according to Default, the tribe are not great trappers. Once in a while, a trap does work. While we were there, a deer was killed by a spear trap. Since Default taught them to be hunters, the Tasaday have developed a taste for meat, and this catch was the cause for great rejoicing. Another post-Default innovation is a food called natak. It is derived from the core of the fishtail palm tree. The process involves a complex technology, all taught by Default. First, the pounding tools must be properly made. Then the work begins. Everyone pitches in. As in all their work, there is no division of tasks according to sex. No orders are given. There seems to be no specific assignment of tasks. But whenever something needs to be done, somehow, someone is there to do it. In most of their activities, the work is both rhythmic and leisurely. The center of the log is fibrous. This must be pounded until it resembles shredded carrots. The bark from another tree is shaped into a container for cooking the natak. It takes one full-grown tree to make a batch of natak. By the time the raw material is ready, the press has been constructed. Paul appears. He seems to have a second sense when the things he has taught them are not going well. The natak is not of the right consistency. DeFall makes a few minor adjustments, jumps a bit harder on the pulp to squeeze out the starch, and the quality improves. Although he is usually treated as an object of humor, in these instances, where he is expert, the people defer to his knowledge and treat him with respect. The Tasaday do not make natak often. It is an all-day process and is considered a delicacy. This was the only batch they made during the time we were there. It is watched and tested with a concentration that would do justice to the chef of a 3-star restaurant.
Ngadan sini.
Cit.
Ya.
Mategas.
Cit. 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 Cit.
Ya, kakak.
Ya, kak.
This had the look and consistency of blue ribbon natak. When it turns out well, it has the taste of unleavened bread.
Cit. Cit, ya, kak. Ya, kak. Ya, namun doa, kakak.
Cit, nah, mak Dewi.
Cit. Bagayan, buyuk kakak. Oh, cit.
Melegak dah.
The verdict is rendered. That's natak.
Ya, kakak lobo. Halo.
Cit, kakak.
Ya, pelayan si hidup mati lah. Hadiah.
Kakak.
The term Stone Age is accurate. Until their meeting with DeFall, the tribe used what the anthropologists call edge-ground tools, the earliest of the Stone Age implements. These days, they don't make stone tools, but we ask them to demonstrate the process. Soon, this may be only a dim memory. It has all been changed by the bolo, the all-purpose Filipino knife. Since, skipping intermediate stages that had taken hundreds of thousands of years. Now the bolo is even used for digging their staple food, a wild yam called beaking. The scientists are studying the tribe's diet to find out whether there is any element or any deficiency that might suppress the birth rate. There is also concern that the use of the bolo might deplete some of the nearby food supply. This would force the Tasaday to move further and further away from the caves, and together with their newfound hunting skills, might profoundly change the pattern of their lives.